Hello, roller coaster gamers. Welcome to a what I think video. It's been a long time since I've done one of these. This is actually me re-recording this. So I recorded this like a week ago, but then things happened and I had to delete it. So we're redoing it, and it's been since November of last year, I think, when I did the last What I Think videos for Soaring Eagle at Coney Island. I mean, Luna Park at Coney Island. Coney Island technically has two parks. Luna Park is the bigger of the two. And it's the one that has Soaring Eagle. And Soaring Eagle, if you guys were there, you know how much I hate that ride. I actually deemed Soaring Eagle at Luna Park at Coney Island, New York, to be the worst roller coaster I've ever ridden. Is the Zamperla Valere, but I'm not going to get into detail about that ride. But speaking of Zamperla, the manufacturer, here's another one of Zamperla's rides that I've gotten a chance to ride. It's Rollin Thunder at Park at OWA in Alabama, really close to Gulf Shores. Yeah, so I went to Gulf Shores like a month ago, a little less than a month ago. We went to Gulf Shores, and while we were there, we went to this park, and they have a clone of Thunderbolt. It's basically the same thing as Thunderbolt at Coney Island, but I didn't ride that because I went to New York when I was like, it was back in 2014. I wasn't as much into roller coasters then as I am now, so I didn't actually ride it back then. But I've ridden this, and what I say for this ride will probably apply to that ride, though I've heard this one is better. So let's just get it into the stats for this, okay, guys? So here we have a height of 114.8 feet, top speed of 55.9 miles per hour. The length is 2,234.3 feet of track. The angle of descent on the first drop is 90 degrees. It has a total of 4 inversions, and the max G-force is 4.3, which is pretty good G-force. So the amount of inversions it has is about, I guess, is about average. 4 or 5 inversions is probably average for roller coasters that do go upside down. The G-force is pretty good. 90-degree drop and also a vertical lift hill is pretty good. But overall, the stats are pretty average. So it would be like around like maybe slightly above average, like for roller coasters in terms of stats, maybe. I'm not gonna give a score based on the stats really. I don't really give these coasters scores at the end, but I might do one at the end of this video for this ride. But stats don't really play a big role for me when I rate a ride. I go based off experience, but I'm just showing like some of the stats, like the statistics of the rides. Okay. So that's the first category that I always go through. And then the next category is going to be going over the elements and what I think of these elements, okay? And then we'll show pictures of the ride, okay? So it has a vertical drop, also has a vertical lift hill, but it has a vertical drop, that's the 90-degree drop of vertical loop. These are the inversions: vertical loop, 0 G-roll, dive loop, a very weird looking dive loop, may I add, a corkscrew, an overbank turn, and 3 airtime hills. And so the 3 airtime hills are by far the best parts of this ride. So basically, this roller coaster is not the smoothest ride ever, and their strengths are pretty weird. So basically, I'll talk about it a little bit more later too, but basically you have this weird like box looking thing on your lap, and it can kind of go back and forth like this, and then you have this almost like a B&M vest restraint that goes over you. And then you have the things that you hold on like this. And this train has 3 seats. It's 3 across. Most roller coasters are either 2 or 4 across. This one's 3, so it's an odd number. But I wouldn't say the trains are the most comfortable. That was probably my least favorite part of the ride. The trains weren't not the best. It made up for it in elements though, like 3 airtime hills, 0 G-roll, dive loop, vertical drop. Those elements are cool and all. Though the 0 G-roll, this is probably one of my least favorite 0 G-rolls I've ever been through. It was by far there. It's like there's this weird part, like turn going right before. It's like so I have a hard time wording these things, but basically the 0G roll is right after you go through that vertical loop, okay? But there's this weird turn before you go upside down that's a bit jerky, and that was by far the worst part of the ride. The jerkiest part of the ride was like that part right before you go into the 0G roll. It really like jerked you on that part. And also the trains felt like you were in a shopping cart, like they were shaking like this. Like it was such a weird feeling. I never felt of that on a roller coaster before. The elements are great and all, but the trains definitely weren't the best design. Speaking of trains, here they are. You can see what the trains look like. There's the weird looking restraints, and then it's 3 across. That's it going over one of those airtime hills. Here I have a picture of Thunderbolt from Coney Island, New York, and it's basically the same thing. So here's some of the elements of vertical loop. Here's that vertical drop and vertical lift hill here. Here's that turn that I was talking about, and there's the 0G roll. It's showing a big view of the ride from here. So here's that airtime hill corkscrew, and then another airtime hill, 2 of them, and then it hits the brakes. No, this is that side, right? Okay, no, it goes through these airtime hills, of course, another airtime hill, then it ends right here, okay? So here's that dive loop in this picture. This is the furthest point of the ride. This point of the ride is the same as right here. So the elements are great. The airtime is pretty good. It's great airtime, like at the end. That's by far the best part of the ride. And some of the inversions are fun and all. And you get a little bit of hang time on the vertical loop. And I really like the drop and stuff, but the only negative about this ride is really the train design. It feels like they're cheaply designed. They're not the best trains ever. So this is I'm gonna give a final score, I guess, for this roller coaster. This roller coaster I give probably about a 6.5, a 6.5 maybe out of 10, maybe a 7. If I'll be a bit generous and give it a 7 maybe. It's a little bit above average, okay? Because I look a little bit past the the shaky trains and try to focus on the actual elements, and the actual elements on the ride are pretty solid. So that's gonna do it for this what I think video. So the next roller coaster video I'm doing will probably be me vlogging, like taking pictures and videos at Dollywood. So I will see you guys then. So see you next time, roller coaster gamers, in the next video. Bye.